Good morning, everybody. I've got a small special edition Doc Rojo quick tips talk for you. So the topic is good health does not happen just by luck alone. And happy St. Patty's Day for those who are tuning in. So this morning I wanted to talk a little bit about an article that Dr. Greger originally wrote on September 12th of 2011 and updated about a year ago. And generally speaking, good health or great health or amazing health does not just happen by blind luck. Usually people don't just stumble into it, but through some deliberate planning and being aware of some of the latest advancements in the nutrition science. And just like people don't get big muscles by sitting on the couch all day, you don't get good insides without paying some attention to it. So he does have a wonderful app called the Daily Dozen. So I'm not going to go into great detail about that in this quick presentation, but there are a few additional things that, in addition to a whole food plant-based diet pattern, or as much of that as you like, whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, fruits, and as many vegetables as you can get, especially the dark green leafy vegetables, berries, and white or green tea. That's kind of the nuts and bolts of the main package of good stuff, and way more details on his app and his video on the Daily Dozen, and way more details in his book, How Not to Die. Very good book, by the way. So in addition to that, a couple of small details. Normally, I don't recommend supplements per se, but there's a few that may be good to pay special attention to. So, for example, vitamin B12, recommend about 2,500 mcg of B12 a week. Depending on the person's body status, for example, if someone is having medicines that suppress their stomach acid for a long time, their stomach might not be able to absorb the B12 as well as it used to. So for those and for many others, having it in a form that goes underneath the tongue and can be absorbed underneath the tongue is the ideal way of taking B12. Occasionally we can also get around that by giving a shot once a month as well. But for many people, they can use a chewable version, a liquid supplement taken on an empty stomach, either 250 once a day or 2,500 mcg once a week, or looking for servings of foods that are fortified with B12 3 times a day, and each should have at least 25% of the U.S. daily value on the label. So those who are over 65 years of age should take at least 1,000 a day of B12. And the reason for that is because as we get older, just like the people who are taking certain stomach acid pills, their body's ability to absorb the B12 goes down. Similarly, folks, as they get older, their body in general is a little bit less able to absorb it. The intrinsic factor in the stomach goes down, so 1,000 of B12 a day. Next, omega-3 fatty acids. So flax seeds are amazing, and I highly recommend having them every day, but they have a particular type of fatty acid called ALA that the body can convert to DHA, but not very easily or quickly. So in order to keep the levels high over a long period of time, basically 250 milligrams a day of a pollutant-free, which means either from yeast or algae version, long-chain omega-3s, EPA, DHA mixture. And one of the reasons that's important is because long-chain amino acids in this omega-3 fatty acids is important for good brain function, and it helps prevent some of that brain shrinkage and cognitive loss. Vitamin D. Now this is talking about for people in the northern hemisphere. It looks like D3 from animal or plant sources is better than the D2 that you get from the funguses. and it depends a little bit on how far north you are. So if you're below 30 degrees latitude, in other words, south of Atlanta, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Cairo, 15 to 30 minutes of midday sun, or if you are on the paler side, 15 for lighter skin, and if you're on the darker side, 30, again, just because the skin pigment, the melanin, is a natural sunscreen, and so a little bit more time is needed. So if you're in that 30 degrees latitude south to the equator, just 15-30 minutes a day is helpful, or 2,000 international units a day for that. For those who are between 30 degrees latitude and 40, so in other words, between Los Angeles, Dallas, Atlanta, and Cairo, and Portland, Chicago, Boston, Rome, and Beijing, in the winter months, in summer, February through November, 15 to 30 minutes a day, or 2,000, or through the winter months, 2,000 units a day. Now, if you're even more north than that, somewhere between the Boston, Chicago, Portland latitude, and higher than that, which would be 50 degrees, Edmonton, London, Berlin, and Moscow, March through October, 15 to 30 minutes a day, or 2,000, and then from November to February, 2,000 per day. And then above that, if you are in those really cold areas that are north of Edmonton, London, Berlin, or Moscow, then 15-30 minutes a day of midday sun, 2,000 units, and so forth. So basically, long story short, is for most of us, about 2,000 units of vitamin D seems to be the bottom line. Alrighty. Next, calcium. About 600 milligrams a day via calcium-rich plant foods, preferably the ones that are low oxalate or dark green leafy vegetables. So part of the trouble with dark green leafies is that spinach, chard, and beet greens are amazingly awesome, except they do have an elevated oxalate level. And for those that are prone to calcium-formed oxalate stones, then those can potentially precipitate stones in those who are susceptible. So all the rest of the greens, though, are really rich in calcium, and just poking around and making sure you get at least 600 milligrams of calcium through that. And that, generally speaking, means a couple of cups of greens a day. Iodine, next, is the one that can be helpful as well. So seaweed is a great source of iodine as long as it is not hijiki or hiziki, because that's got high arsenic levels, and kelp has way too much iodine. But most other forms of iodine can be healthy and helpful every day, or a 150 mcg supplement of the iodine. And last but not least, iron is good for all women that are menstruating still because of the monthly loss of iron through the loss of the blood. And so in general, foods that are rich in iron are the best way of getting the iron, and having vitamin C containing foods is helpful as well, so that the iron is best absorbed. So foods that are rich in iron, again, those dark green leafies, lentils are especially healthy for that as well, and black beans and mushrooms are all good sources of iron. For those that are of Northern European descent, there's a note about selenium. Sometimes selenium is also needed as well. A daily Brazil nut will give you enough selenium. Alrighty, so again, just a few quick tips on a few foods that are helpful for optimum health, and much more details, of course, are on the website nutritionfacts.org. So enjoy your day. Thank you. Bye-bye.